Hi everyone. So as you can read in the title of this video, I had to spend the night in a hospital. Basically what happened is after I filmed my last video, I started having basically all the symptoms of preeclampsia. I was already having the high blood pressure like I mentioned. I got a headache, I got really blurry vision, I was nauseous, I was extremely hot and sweaty, and overall just feeling like I was gonna die, basically. No, not really, but I have never felt that kind of sickness. It's almost like you're gonna have the flu, but then you feel way more different than that. It's hard to explain. So I called my midwife on Monday morning to let her know that I was experiencing all those symptoms. And she came to my house actually, instead of making me come to the office. And she checked my blood pressure, which was 150/95. But my urine was clear, baby's heartbeat was fine. But my midwife didn't trust it anymore. She's like, yeah, your blood pressure just keeps rising. You've been not feeling well for a couple of weeks now. You're you're not doing well for the last couple of weeks of pregnancy. So she wanted to have me checked by the gynecologist. So I had to go to the hospital. And at that point I just did the whole routine again. I had to give some urine and some blood, and I was hooked up onto the monitor that took my blood pressure every 5 minutes, and that monitored baby's heartbeat and any contractions I might have been having. They did an ultrasound just to make sure the baby was alright, other than just his heartbeat, that he was not lacking room or showing any signs of whatever. And I got a cervical check, and I was quite a face. It was really soft and squishy, and my cervix was shortened, and I had a little bit of an opening, but it's not even 1 centimeter yet, so it was quite disappointing, but at least it's soft and squishy now. And at that point the midwife went, or the clinical midwife, so the midwife from the hospital went and talked it over with the gynecologist, and even though my blood came back clear and my urine came back clear, even though they did put it up to see if there's any bacteria in it, so we still have to wait for those results. We're not going to get that until Thursday or Friday. They just thought it was better for me to stay the night, because they couldn't give me a diagnosis. It wasn't preeclampsia. It could be pregnancy-induced high blood pressure. It could be that I'm developing some kind of infection, or I have some sort of, maybe I am having the flu. They're not really sure. But in combination with having some spotting over the weekend, with having some contractions, with the high blood pressure, with the nausea, they just thought it was safe to keep me overnight and just to see how I was doing. And the entire night I spent 30 minutes on a monitor at from 9:30 to 10, or no, from 8:30 to 10, 8:30 to 9, and then they put me on a monitor again right before the night shift started. So from 10 to 10:30, something like that. And at 2 o'clock at night, I called the midwife, or I called the nurse again, because I was really cramping up, and to the point where I was literally having sweat on my top lip, because I was oh my god, this is so painful. And it weren't contractions, it was cramps, menstrual cramps, really painful ones. And that weren't it were contractions, but they were baby activity related contractions. Logan would start kicking, and he would get in such a sprint, basically, that he was increasing his heart rate to 180s, and at that point I would start contracting, and he would be confined and not have that much space to work himself up, sweat, I guess. And then when he was slowing down in his movements, my contractions slowly whimpered off. And yeah, they gave me some Tylenol, and after a while he just calmed down himself. And they put me on a monitor again at 8:30 to 9:45 or something, really long, because I was on the monitor for a half an hour. And then I called the nurse again, letting her know that I was getting an extreme headache and my vision was getting blurry again. So she told me to like try to sleep through, and she put me on the blood pressure monitor again, and like I didn't sleep, but I closed my eyes and I just like lay down, and I looked to the monitor a couple of times just to see like what level my contractions were on, or what level his heart rate was on, and at some point I noticed that the blood pressure monitor said 145/95. And at that point I was like, I'm never going home again. There's no way they're gonna let you go home with that blood pressure. And the gynecologist came at 11 to talk things over, and basically she's not too thrilled with my blood pressure, and she wants me to come back in on Thursday and get my blood pressure checked again, be on the monitor for 30 minutes, hand in some urine and have my blood taken again, and then afterwards I will have a appointment with another gynecologist. I don't know if it's the same or a different one, probably a different one though, and they're going to discuss where they're going to go from here. But she did reveal a little bit like what's to be expected if my blood pressure has increased or has crawled up even further. I will have to be induced, and depending on how far it has gone up, I will be induced like the next day basically, or they will start preparing me for induction, and I might have to stay again. Or if it's like the same, then I might actually get to go home. She did mention that it is, in her perspective, it's better to be induced closer to 38 weeks instead of like 37 weeks. She didn't want to put me on any high blood pressure medication because like it's just gonna disturb. There's a fly. Ugh. Like the way we see you develop right now, like. If they're gonna give me high blood pressure medication right now, you're just gonna have other symptoms, and it's just gonna confuse us even more. Like, are you having those symptoms because of the medication, or are you having those symptoms because that's pregnancy related? Or so basically said you're this close to being full term, hang in there, and they're trying to make me go to 38 weeks, and if not, then I'll have to be induced. So basically, if my blood pressure doesn't go down, I will be induced within the next 2 weeks, or 1.5 weeks, I guess. And if it does go down, then I'm good, probably. So, and I get to go back to my midwife's office, and if not, then I have to stay under the hospital care. So that sucks. And when that finally sank in with Rob, he asked the gynecologist, is it normal to be induced just because you have high blood pressure? Isn't it safer for the baby to stay in there longer? And she explained that at this point, in 2 more days, your baby is full term, and the benefits of him staying inside the womb longer are next to zero, while the benefits for me to get him out with my high blood pressure, oh no, I have to say different. She said it the benefits for the baby to stay in the womb aren't close to zero, yet the risk for mom for the baby to stay in her while having such a high blood pressure are, that's huge. And I could understand that from a medical point of view. But I was basically just glad I got to go home and at least spend another 2 days at my own place and my own bed and my own pillows and my Gaviscon drink, because they didn't have anything for my heartburn, which was horrible. And I figured, what, I'm just gonna deal with it at home and just look up on information. And I did look it up, why, is it, what are the benefits of being induced just because you have a high blood pressure? And basically, the gynecologist was right. I did find a lot of research that said that basically what you're waiting for, if you have high blood pressure but a full-term baby, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting to develop preeclampsia? Are you waiting to get to the point where you just are not in the best state anymore to get through labor and delivery and postpartum. So this makes sense, you know. Like I mentioned in my last video, I do feel that my body is getting weaker and weaker by the day. And going through this for another 3 weeks and 2 days sounds awful. Because I just don't know if I can get it. I can get like... Yeah, basically, even how I explained it to Rob, like I would rather be induced and be able to get through labor and delivery the way that I want to, and actually like feel good about the actual labor and delivery part, and have a normal recovery than getting my natural way and letting nature take its course, and just, you know, not getting induced, and then being so weak that labor and delivery is not only hard and you know, it will be tough for me to do it without any medication or any help, and recovery will be that much longer. I would rather just have being induced and be able to do my labor and delivery somewhat according to what I was planning on, and have a reasonably quick recovery, than not being induced and letting nature take its course and not being able to do the labor part or delivery part the way I want to, and have a very long and painful recovery. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now. I really hope, fingers crossed, my blood pressure is going down and I can still have everything the way that I want to naturally. But at the same time, I'm trying to be realistic, and if we're going to the hospital on Thursday again, and I'm just bringing my hospital bag again, and I'm gonna hope for the best, but expect the worst. So I'm gonna expect that, or keep in the back of my mind that they're gonna make me stay and they're gonna induce me like over the weekend, and I'm gonna hope that that's not the case. But in the meantime, I am gonna up my evening primrose oil capsules. I'm just gonna take them like 3 times a day orally and at least 2 times a day vaginally, just to help my cervix to like soften and ripen more in case I do need to be induced, because that's like one less synthetic medication you have to have. So yeah, that's basically it for this update. It's kind of a bummer. Probably gonna cry for the night. Like, I've been holding up my tears, or holding back my tears, because I don't want Rob to see me cry. I don't want to cry on YouTube. Basically, I know if I like show this to Rob, he's gonna be like upset too, and it will affect him. Because right now he's just really scared. He's like, what if the baby comes this weekend? That's scary. You know, that's way too close. I wasn't expecting him for another 4 weeks. Because he keeps thinking I'm going to go past my due date, which at this point I don't think they'll even let me. Even if my blood pressure drops a little bit more, it will still be too high to get me to 40 weeks. So yeah, just suck it up. So basically, I'm not allowed to do anything in the household anymore. I am allowed to sit, and I'm allowed to cook dinner and wipe the counters and stuff like that. And she told I'm forbidden to vacuum clean, or to mop the floors, or to do my windows, or to do laundry. I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm not even allowed to do the walk to my grocery store. So that sucks. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm just gonna go and do the evening primrose oil capsules a little bit more, along with the raspberry relief tea. Just gonna keep on taking those. And fingers crossed, Thursday I will have better news, but I don't know. I don't think so, but you know, we're gonna hope. Fingers crossed, people. Yeah, talk to you guys soon. Bye, everyone.